This song expresses from the point of view of someone who has finally come to the end of the road of walking in their own strength and understanding, like that point where you realize that you're tired. And the beautiful thing about God is how he sees before we see, and how he extends himself before we reach for him. One of the reasons the Israelites wandered for so long was because they wouldn't change their mindset. And I realized that my own understanding can have me covering lots of ground and spending lots of time, but getting nowhere. Expressing from the point of view of the lone wolf, or just not being accustomed to having a lot of community, or even something I had to learn was learning the difference between true friendship and bad company, and then desperately wanting something different and realizing that there has to be something better and that there's a lack, and wanting that need to be filled but not really knowing what it should be filled with. And then something that the Lord has allowed me to see is just the beauty of partnership with God and people. And I know that there can be a lot of different reasons and conditioning and experiences that lead to why some of us may not know or have experienced that kind of partnership, or been taught about that kind of partnership, or why we haven't experienced that kind of help. But what's beautiful is, once you do experience it, it's truly a blessing to be able to partner with God and partner with his people, and to see what it's like to really do life with God and do life with people. And yeah. I know some of us can be hesitant to trust God, or hesitant to believe the things that we hear about him, especially if you're still trying to piece together who he is. And I know many of us have been given a misrepresentation of God and his character. And then something else that I've often thought about is how sometimes bad experiences with people, like disappointment, abandonment, trauma, drama, just different things in relationships with people, or even with people who have really helped define your ideas of love and your sense of self and your sense of worth and your modes of operation. When you experience bad things in those relationships, sometimes we can superimpose that on our relationship with God, or even God's character. We can sometimes superimpose other people's character or behavior onto God. And what I love about God is that he's so beautiful and kind to show us who he truly is in spite of all that. Okay, so now that I'm open to trusting you and opening up and believing in you, are you going to love me with all my unpresentableness and all that I am? And I know that's something that we can have a question about. Another thing, because it may be experiences we've had with people. But even in my relationship with the Lord, when it comes to vulnerability, I still have moments where I wonder if my mess is too much for God. Not in regard to his power, but in regard to my weakness and neediness, unbecomingness. But then I am reminded of his son, Jesus, his grace, his unconditional love, the inclination of his strength toward my weakness, and the empowerment of the Holy Spirit to overcome all things. Whoever believes and receives will be saved, but we must also abide and endure to remain. He is perfect. He is complete. He is whole. At times, our affections can become divided and set on lesser things, but singing words like these help me to realign with the truth.